Hi, beautiful souls. My name is Sadhana and welcome to my channel. Welcome back to part 2 of the follow-up readings for your year ahead cards for 2020. If you haven't watched your reading from January 1st, I suggest that you go back and do that. And the link for those videos is in the description box below, or you can scroll through my videos and go back to January 1st. Those readings are divided, just like these ones will be, into 2 videos. The first 9 readings on the first part 1 and the second 9 readings on part 2. And as far as calculations, if you don't know how to calculate your card for the year, the instructions for those calculations are on my community page. And if you scroll down right here into the description box, the detailed instructions on how to get to or what you're looking for on my community page are there. Briefly, I'll describe the spread that we've got here and the decks that I am using today. So in the center is the Way Home Tarot, and I have chosen 4 oracle decks to support the energy of each of the minor suits. So the Way Home Tarot here, you'll see the only major arcana card you'll see is your significator card in the center, and then these piles are divided into the suits. So you'll get 1 card from each suit in your reading. And then the oracle decks were selected to support the energy of that particular suit. This is the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit Oracle, Soul Trees, the Connected and Free Alchemist Oracle, and the Herbcrafter's Tarot, which is a tarot deck, but it works really well as an oracle deck as well too. And we'll be kind of bringing in both tarot and oracle meanings from that deck in connection with the suit of Pentacles, which is right here. Number 14, Temperance. You had such a sweet reading on January 1st. I felt so inspired for all of the people who have the Temperance card, just really embracing the magic and feeling confident enough to really understand what it means to be the alchemist of your life as you move forward, to be playful with it, to really enjoy, but also bring a heightened awareness of the sense of temperance to everything that you do. There was a lot of strong female energy balanced with the masculine energy. And it was the owl card, the one over on the bottom left corner, that had that beautiful message of, as we explore the magic of life, we find capacity. And that just really resonated with me. So I hope that it did with you as well too. The card on the top right, I believe the keyword was dualism or duality, looked to me like a deep awareness of what the word yoga or what temperance means, and where you have the blue on the top and the gold on the bottom, and then the joining of the 2 circles in the middle. It was just this perfect mirror for the card in the center of the reading. And I loved that nettle was the choice of plant that came up for you, because it's one of the kind of the easiest potions to begin to work with as if you're getting into making teas or herbology or things like that. So let's see what's in the cards for you right now. So today, it's a day later. I'm doing these readings the day after the new moon. So we're still definitely in that energy. This is such a beautiful card. Wow, look at the sun. I'm assuming it's a sunrise. Could be a sunset. Probably a sunrise coming up from behind that hill, supported by the energy of the light in front. It feels like a lot of potential. So yeah, so these readings are a day later than the ones on the previous video. And just keeping with looking at the card in the center and this one, I am seeing earth and fire, air and fire, air and earth. And I'm going to be kind of looking at that with all of the cards to kind of look and see which cards represent balance and which cards are going to need a little more energy. Father of Cups feels so very, very connected. So he is connected emotionally. And the way this particular cup is drawn, there's that green energy. So very, very embodied and in touch with the earth as well too. And all that can be manifest from the earth. Okay, so we have 2 cup cards. Son of Swords and Father of Cups. And so if those players are present in your life, it's really important to look at how the dynamics of those two energies, whether they are external or internal, affect your choices and affect the way that you bring balance into your life. Are they as distraction? Are they supportive energy? So the Son of Swords is beginning to master, beginning to be a little more skilled with his sword, with his words, with his communication. He can also be a little impulsive and a little rash, a little impatient perhaps. And so the patience it takes to make the tempered creations is definitely not going to be as easy for him as it is for the Father of Cups, who can do this in a heartbeat. And then we have Five of Pentacles. So there is a sense of restriction for sure, and we need to kind of look at, along with the oracle cards, what that restriction is about. If there is a lack of scarcity, what is that lack of scarcity about? Let's just go and see what we've got over here and how we can kind of tie that together. So we have the Devil card, Blackberry. So just think about blackberry. Think about how it grows. It has a long season. It grows wild. It takes over everything. It's very hard to control how it grows and where it grows. But its fruit is sweet, easy to pick. It's delicious. And what does that have to do with the Five of Pentacles? Well, the devil, the blackberry energy, can definitely strangle out other plants. It can strangle out other life. So if there is this temptation to go with the easy, we might have neglected some other things along the way, right? Because the picking of the blackberries is relatively easy, right? It's not something we have to think about because it just happens, whether that's in your own garden or in the forest or wherever it is. So we'll come back to that for sure. And that Five of Pentacles is sitting underneath the Son of Swords. The Son of Swords. Spiritual suffering. Inside that jar, we have fireflies, I believe. Let's have a closer look at this card. So there's a sense of darkness, and the fireflies have been contained in the jar. They're not free. They're not free to fly where they need to go. They will die if the lid is not opened. They need to expand. So just kind of keep that conversation going. And how does the Son of Swords, what does the Son of Swords, what kind of connection is that? Is he uncomfortable in his spirituality? Would he rather move away from that to stay into his intellectual, his rational mind than moving into his more subtle mind? Beside the Six of Wands, we have Shark. All right, so this lunar cycle might not be the easiest. I am going to refer to the guidebook. I believe there's something I want to pick up from the wisdom of Kim Kranz. The shark is only dangerous when we don't acknowledge it. This card indicates that something big needs to be exposed. It's lurking in the depths and creating tension. It's lurking in the depths and creating tension. Shark energy takes over us when we are hesitant to be honest, to be totally ourselves, or to say what we really want. It may be tempting to continue pretending nothing is wrong, but when shark energy is at play, we feel its presence circling us. Okay, and then underneath that, we have love, almost as if this card, along with the Father of Cups, they're the gift. They are the remedy for all of this. So as part of everything that you are practicing with temperance, this next lunar cycle might be one that's full of spiritual challenges, and that spiritual challenge may be the unwillingness to look beneath the surface, the unwillingness to look at what is circling below in the dark and in the depths. And instead we are focusing on something quite perhaps material success that is perhaps has been gained from less than reputable ways. And maybe there was a sense of clinginess and desperation to move up and out of the energy of the Five of Pentacles. And so we kind of cheated. We took the easy route rather than taking a more principled way, a more ethical way. And then we found ourselves in this kind of sense of guilt, and this quagmire began to develop down in the depths. And so now part of the process of temperance is to shift that, to really shift that energy, and to bring the energy of our day, of our week, of our month, of this particular cycle into what feels more balanced and more harmonious. This card is just lovely, and if you look at the peacock feathers, and if you look at the beautiful eye that is emerging from behind the feathers, in some ways this looks like a human eye. It could be something else. I mean, use your imagination. This could very well be a headdress. But with the energy of the peacock also comes this huge energy of transformation, and a spiritual transformation in a way. So I connect the peacock. It has lots of associations, but one of them goes to a couple of the gods in the Hindu pantheon, and it is connected to a deep and reverent experience. Bring your attention to the love card and the colors on the love card. We have red and green. And there's a few things that come up for me here. One is connecting the green to the Father of Cups beside, and also looking at the energy of family, root chakra kind of issues, and perhaps part of this deception, perhaps, the energy that is lurking beneath the surface has to do with bringing the balance of family love into right relationship, the healing of the family, the healing of the energy that's coming up from the root chakra. And the other thing that I was thinking of was that perhaps there is some distance that's been created between the Son of Swords and the Father of Cups. And maybe there has been a breakdown in the family energy. Because here, I mean, this feels very supportive, very beautiful. This feels very distant and very cold. And perhaps as a result of that breakup, you know, I'm just wondering what this deception was, and perhaps this looked wonderful, right? This was very, very tempting to move in this direction, but it didn't pan out. The expectation was this, but this is actually what happened. So if this is resonating with you, you will know your story, you will know what happened, and you go ahead and write about your story. Try to distance yourself from the story. Write about it in the third person, because that will help you to begin to create distance. And then read your story aloud. Read your story aloud, and you can write a couple of things down on your piece of paper. One, of course, is temperance. Another is find the gold, find the lesson. Looking for the deeper messages within that story with the intention of perhaps healing the family energy or something else to do with basal chakra messages. The other thing I see here is if we look at this diagonal relationship, if we're able to bring in the temperance, so we could also go with the word moderation, because it feels like with this card coming up, with this kind of challenging relationship, as well as this card over here. The word moderation might be more suitable than temperance, but the medicine of the moderation, the positive result of the temperance, of the moderation, is going to bring these two energies more into balance and to make them not feel so far apart. So let me know, please, how this is manifesting for you. And this reading, the intention for these readings was to kind of look ahead at this next lunar cycle. This is the second new moon of 2020, so it's a really good time to regroup, to set new intentions. And if any of these energies are lurking below your surface, to not ignore them and to really bring focus to them, and deeply, because temperance is your card of the year, to find ways, to find strategies for beginning to make shifts. Number 15, the Devil. As expected, the reading in January was quite a challenging one. There were 2 5 cards, and some of the oracle cards spoke to the energy of it being challenging to focus on the medicine and the healing of the triggers that the Devil year was going to bring up for you. And so in the top right corner was that boat card, which had the keyword drifting. And then the heron down in the bottom left corner had a very similar energy, where I believe the sentence was something about the relationship between freedom and restrictions. And those are definitely, I mean, you just can't plan those things. To have those 2 words come up in a reading on a particular animal card for a devil card was just, it's just a reminder that this is a very challenging energy, and there are many different layers and ways that it will appear along your path as you go through this year. And as with all of the cards, these are not energies that are just going to be a problem at the beginning of the year and then you're going to figure out and everything's going to be easy. They're, once you've got one thing figured out, and then the universe will hand you another one. And hopefully your awareness will be a little more heightened, and you'll be able to more skillfully, hopefully, perhaps a little more quickly work through the next situation, so you can begin to change your patterns and do things differently and recognize your triggers a little more quickly than you did the time before. So this Devil card, I pulled out, this is my card for the year, and I pulled out a lot of different Devil cards and have them close to my altar, and I'm looking at them on a regular basis. This one is quite similar to the Devil card in the way of the Panda Tarot, where the Devil represents the circus staff, the circus owner who has reigned and turned these wild, beautiful animals into showcase pieces, into something that we pay to watch rather than letting them have their freedom. In the way of the Panda Tarot, it is a bear. A panda bear is in a trap, and you see the wide open mouth, the angry mouth of the panda in reaction to being caught in the trap. So the whole idea with the Devil is wide, and there's a lot of different messages that will come up, and perhaps one of your triggers, one of your things that you are working through is animal activism. So that could be your trigger. And I know there are a lot of people that struggle with, that are challenged with the continuing issues around animal rights, and so that is admirable. And there will be, if that is your thing, that will continue to, come up for you this year. If your thing has to do with different kinds of compulsions and addictions, that will come forth this year. And you saw that in the January reading. It was, I believe, the 5 of Cups and the 5 of Swords. So learning to, with the Five of Swords, the words, the communication, the language is so important. So deciding when to engage and when not to engage can be really important. This is a really beautiful Mother of Wands here, full of vital energy and potential. She can take on anything. So if we're going to go back to this animal activism aspect, you know, she's going to really be there to support you in, you know, along in your journey. We have Mother of Cups as well too. So two strong feminine energies sitting here on the right side of the reading very much will be in support of working through your triggers as they arise. They have these elements, right? They have mastered these elements in a way that the energies of the devil don't ruffle their feathers like they did when they were younger. So they are able to hold space and to advise and to give you room to work through everything that is arising. And that reading in January was really quite challenging. And then here we have, you know, kind of a different energy that's coming up for you, Six of Swords. So in this position, in January, you had the Five of Swords. So this, when I see something in progression like this, it feels right. It feels like you have made a step in the right direction. And at least for some aspect, one of the things that is manifesting this year, you're beginning to realize that it's not worth your time. It's not worth your energy. So you have chosen to move and to speak and to behave in a different way. So remember, with all of these things, sometimes it is our reaction that we need to observe. And Four of Pentacles. Four of Pentacles. Four of Pentacles. So that feels to me, it feels solid, it feels secure, it feels like a base from which you can move. If you look at the frog on these lily pads here, the frog is quite secure and can stay above the water for a certain amount of time. He's not going to fall down into the depths of the murky water. It's kind of an interesting metaphor. And then over here we have the Adalita of Fire. So this corresponds to the Knight of Fire. And I'm looking across diagonally at the Mother of Wands. It feels like you have this, like you have all the skills that you need to move through these triggers as they arise. And you having the Knight and the Mother of Wands is kind of a two-sided edge to it. So they are definitely active. They are risk takers. They are energetic. They are tireless. They're also extremely creative. But their energy can be a little bit too intense. So that intensity is what might be getting you into trouble with your triggers that are connected to the Devil card. So bringing that energy, bringing mindfulness to the excessiveness of the fire energy will definitely be, then we have water here balancing it, and we have there's a significant amount of water energy in this card too. So I feel like this is going to be, burn myself on the candle, a pretty good cycle for you. And maybe the triggers that arise will be a little less stressful than they were in the past couple of months. Yeah, so look at all this light, cosmos, beautiful energy here. So this says family. It says family. It's a really beautiful card. It feels like a deep, deep connection. And because we're talking about the devil, we're talking about things that trigger you. We're talking about things that need to come into balance, need to come into right relationship, because often these are excesses. And the cards that are surrounding the devil are going to represent these excesses. And so what is it about your family that makes you run in the opposite direction, or that makes you feel out of balance, or perhaps your story is that you can't be with family because your family triggers your addictions or something like that. So just be aware that family card has come up for a reason, and the family card is sitting next to the Six of Swords. So the Six of Swords would suggest that you're moving perhaps in a different direction than family. You don't feel supported by family, so you need to move away from that. Or if that Five of Swords energy is how you feel when you're with your family, then perhaps that six is showing you that you are perfectly capable of moving in a new direction. You might not know exactly where it is you're going, but it looks hopeful, it looks promising, and it feels a heck of a lot better than the energy of the Five from last month. And then we have the Bat. So this is the lunar energy. So there's a couple of connections between the lunar energy and the Devil card. If you listen to the reading, I talked a little bit about the Swadhisthana chakra, so the Devil being the energy of the sacral chakra, which is where the addictions lie. And when we're talking from a yogic perspective, this is also the home of the divine feminine, and this is where we are deeply connected to the lunar energy. So the Bat sees clearly at night. The Bat sees clearly in the moon. And so just kind of go with that for a moment and know that this feels like you have the ability to navigate, which a lot of these cards are definitely in support of. And I would say enjoy this next cycle because it looks like it's not going to be too challenging. Create. So perhaps create is a medicine. Create is a specific way to help you move through any of your devil triggers. So if you are triggered by something, perhaps your medicine is to create. I just love this deck over here. So this one is talking about the energy of cayenne. So this would be using the energy of cayenne to spice up your foods, perhaps using any of the other herbs that are in the background of this card as remedies to help with the way you're feeling physically, the way you're feeling emotionally or mentally, or just cultivating that experience of working with plants and working with your food rather than eating takeout, right? Rather than dining out. You want to use your hands and feel that grounding energy so that you can feel secure and solid. So part of the reason for the frenetic energy of the Devil is because we don't feel that grounding energy. So one of the suggestions here is to create. Yeah. So let me know if any of this is resonating with you, how it has shown up for you over the last couple of months, or it's not so much the last couple of months, but how this energy, because this reading is for this lunar cycle and moving forward. So this energy will be with you now and moving forward over the next couple of weeks. So let me know how it comes up for that. Okay, and my previous comment, I guess, is in regards to anything that resonated with the last reading. Number 16, the Tower. This is a year of beginning to heighten your awareness around energy that needs to be diffused so that energy doesn't build up, and your tower experiences are all to an extreme. When I was looking at the reading from January, I was looking at the stacked rocks in the top right corner, and there was also a drawing on the grass in the Two of Wands to its left, and then looking at the shape of the tower itself. And that symbol of the tower seemed to be important. Also looking at the headdress, the hat of the gatherer, that particular shape seemed to be there in a kind of a large way. So when we're looking at symbols, they can help us to navigate the stuff that we're going through. So this might be a symbol that will help you to heighten your awareness. You might want to collect rocks and stack rocks and have little mini towers around just to become aware of the symbology of the tower throughout this year. And I asked you to think about the relationship between the gatherer and the heather over on the right, the medicine of the heather, the sweetness of the heather, the honey, the honey that is flavored by the heather, and about just taking the right amount. The gatherer collects only what she needs and not more. And this, I suppose not oddly, may be your medicine. This is your medicine from last year. Last year was your devil year, unless there was something funky with your dates and your numbers. But last year was probably a devil year for you, a 15 year. So what I see here is that these cards coming up in January are just a reminder to not forget about your lessons from last year. So that's one thing. And also the beauty of that hawk, the hawk energy moving away from the tower, helping to bring awareness to the big picture. So sometimes the tower year is also about creating the space that's needed so you can view your life, view your experiences as the hawk does. So let's see what's around the tower for you right now. So 7 of Wands. It's a really interesting illustration for the 7. And we have those flames on either side kind of creating a sense of protection, and there is definitely a strength in that flame that is ahead. It makes me want to go there. It makes me want to move towards that flame at the end. It feels almost as if it's drawing energy. But again, look at the symbol here. When we look at the shape of the tower, and we look at this shape here. So I would really begin to work with this energy very carefully. So we have the 5 of Cups stacked as a tower. It might, sometimes things are not that complicated. And if this is just a matter of you creating little towers all over the place so you become hyper aware of what the energy of the tower is, wouldn't that be an easy way to kind of work through this year? And in the chest of the Father of Pentacles, we have another tower. We have the mountain. We have the strength. We have the strength that is needed to persevere and to move through this. And sometimes if we can just figure out a way to be strong and to, there's a component of working on your physical health as well, to create that sense of stamina, to have the endurance to move through the energy of a tower year, and to continuously allow little bits of energy to be diffused. Focusing here on what is in the beauty, this cosmic energy that is lingering, in these 2 cups here is inspiring. It's much like this flame here. It's something to move towards, and to just simply allow this energy to return to the universe, to return to the planet, to let it go back to where it came, and to not be concerned, and to not carry on with that story, to not carry on with, to not spend more energy there. Confidence. Okay, so another thing that this tower shape represents is that strength, that inner fortitude. And I mentioned that here, that shape of the mountain is one of standing tall and being brave and continuing to move forward. So there's a sense of not buckling under when things get tough, not running into the fire, not running into the flames by any means, but making good, solid decisions based on a clear mind. So in order to have a clear mind, we have to have clear health. We have to have enough rest. We have to have, we have to have eaten properly and all of that. So we have the wheel, the kitchen garden, beautiful mandala of plants, herbs, vegetables growing in this garden. And the medicine of this card really is to be with the season and to be with the cycles and to embrace the cycles and understand that the more we are in connection, the more we are in reverence with the natural cycles of the year, the cycles of the earth, the cycles of the plants, the stars, the moon, the sun, everything, the more that we walk and live with the natural energy of the cycles, the less that we feel that we are swimming upstream. And the more the natural energies that need to diffuse will diffuse. And perhaps that is one of your greatest lessons this year, is to learn how to let that go little by little and to understand the strength in that. So let's go over here and see what we've got next to the Five of Swords. Mentor. That's kind of cool. So it's a very, he feels the colors feel very healing, as do the colors below it. So lots of greens and blues. We have lots of purple blossoms here as well too. Next to the Seven of Wands, we have the cheetah. Okay, so super fiery energy, which on one hand we need a lot of energy to continue to move through challenging things, right? So we don't, sometimes we feel when things are really challenging, we can feel really depleted and we can get into the moodiness of this kind of a card. And so this cheetah energy feels, it feels like strength. It feels like the strength to move towards the focus of this flame. And I think focus was a part of something that came up in the reading in January. The focus. What is your focus? What is the most important thing to keep your eye on so that things can feel energetically balanced? And the tower explodes, the lightning strikes the house, the forest fire happens because there's something out of balance. Whether that is in your environment, whether that is in your internal pharmacy of your body, all of these things are really important. So it's not just about the relationships in your life, but bring all of your tower lessons internally as well into your personality, into your health, into your physical body, into the way that you navigate all of your relationships, you know, with your dog, with your neighbors, and so forth. So that Father of Pentacles on the left has a tremendous amount of strength, as does the Mentor in the top right. We're reminded of cycles, to be with cycles. And then that Five of Swords, the Five of Swords seems to mirror the shape of the lightning. So that feels energetic. It feels like you may need to take action to move forward. With the Seven of Wands too, there's a sense of looking after yourself. And sometimes the Five of Swords on a non-shadow side is about doing what you need to do or saying what you need to say so that the tower experience isn't as tumultuous as it could be. Sometimes I feel like the Five of Swords it's an important, as long as you're not walking away smugly, like is illustrated in some pictures and some particular decks, there's this need to take charge. And the Father of Pentacles is underneath that, saying, stay strong, you can move through this, you can be a leader, but watch the language, watch what comes out of your mouth. Five of Swords can also refer to documents, the language of documents. And the Mentor card sitting here, what is that about? So what does the Five of Swords have to do with the Mentor? Maybe this is something very simple, like you need to take some English classes, so you are, or some writing classes, so you are, writing in a more skillful way to execute whatever it is you need to execute. Look for mentors in the field that you are struggling the most. Sometimes just taking an online course, sometimes taking a course at a distance isn't the most effective way. We actually have to reach out to a human, and we need to work with a human to help us through something. So maybe that human is going to help you with your speech that you have to present at the conference. Maybe that human is going to help you with, I don't know, something not so much emotionally, but mentally. There feels almost like this looks also a bit like the nervous system, the fragility of the nervous system, as does this. So sometimes in the Tower year, we feel that, that raw, nervous energy, that anxiety, that kind of tension. And so by working with a mentor, allowing ourselves to be supported by the natural cycles of the planet, of the universe, we can begin to bring the nervous system back into a little bit calmer energy. Yeah. So in summary, there's a lot going on here, but there's also a lot of a power that is being emitted in this reading, and it feels like you can navigate through this next cycle, this next few months. But I would encourage you to take a screenshot of these cards and to journal about the ones that are speaking to you, journal about the pairs of cards that bring questions forth, or some of the words that I said that made you feel a little uncomfortable perhaps, because sometimes when you are made to feel uncomfortable, that's kind of, oh, that's what I need to bring to my attention. So let me know in the comments below about any of those things. This is a journey of healing. And when I watched back your January reading, I really got the message of counting your blessings. Looking to the cards of that reading, over on the right side of the star card, both the Nine of Wands and the Knight of Cups were facing away from the star, moving away from the star. And then on the other side was the Three of Swords and the Nine of Pentacles. And it felt like separation. It felt like a separation that hurt, but there was also a lot of medicine in the reading. So when I look at the star card and was recontemplating, listening to my words from the reading, thinking a little deeper into everything that came up, what I was reminded of was this connection between the star card and the Temperance card. And to just kind of in the back of your mind, keep the energy of the Temperance always kind of with the star. So the star definitely is a step beyond Temperance. So whereas Temperance is one of really experimenting and playing with the alchemy, the star card is one where you have worked with that energy and you're more comfortable and familiar with that energy. And so now you're at this place where you're allowing that energy to very much be. And so if you are feeling lost at all, if you're feeling a little bit challenged, I want you to really kind of embrace all that you have gone through and the point that you have arrived at to get here, to be at this year of the star, because you've been through the hard stuff. And now this is a year to really just kind of step back and to be in the energy of the hope and the joy and the love and the healing, the cleansing and purification of the star. The other thing I didn't mention in the January reading was the sense of the Three of Swords, particularly in the Druidcraft Tarot, looking like an ancestral altar. And it's something that I could go back to time after time, is that it's not a piece, it's not something that's part of North American culture. And I encourage anybody who's doing this kind of work to have some kind of a place in your home where you light candles, where you say hi to grandma, where you say hi to mom, the different energies of those loved ones who are part of your family, who are part of your karma. They're here to support you. And so I just wanted to bring that piece in. And of course, there's also that sense in that reading, there's some kind of anguish, that separation between the Three of Swords and that Knight of Cups moving away diagonally across the reading. I really felt like the Nine of Fire was in resistance to the healing, almost as if the Nine of Swords was above the healing. And so there's another kind of piece there. So take that what you will. But if you look at the Nine of Swords and the card beside it, that third eye with that energy kind of coming out from the triangle, those the wands and that energy coming out around that eye kind of are speaking to each other. So I don't know, just it's really important for you to kind of lean into the energy of the reading and take from it what you glean, not just kind of what I'm picking up. And then that other piece about the Rainmaker and the Temperance and the Banes is such a strong healing message. So really kind of lean into that energy as you move forward through this lunar cycle that's coming up, but the rest of the year. So let's see what we have here for the cards around the star. We have the Son of Wands. So that's a really, it almost looks like the tower inside his belly. It's a lot of energy and there's a lot of steam that's erupting there. So remember that the Knight cards are fueled by air. And this is the Son of Fire. So this is a very not only ambitious, but quick moving and very passionate Son of Air. So that energy is in, wow, so Ace of Cups. This feels like a romance. Passion. Deep passion. The beginning of some kind of new passion is emerging from the work that you've been doing with the star. Those cards look really kind of great together. And we have another ace. Okay. Something new is emerging. So if you've been working with your card of the year and releasing, I think the part of working with every single card is there's aspects that need to be released, so there's space for this new energy to come in, and you definitely have this new energy that is emerging. Daughter of Pentacles is also a sign of new energy. Her back, however, is to the Son of Wands, so perhaps she wants to move a little more slowly than that fiery energy that is being emitted from the Son of Wands. Nightingale. Okay, so this is about the voice, the sweetness of the voice. And one of the things I know, I might go grab Kim's book in a bit, but the nightingale is not one of those beautiful birds that everybody, paints and has on their Instagram posts. The message, the beauty, the sweetness of the nightingale is in its voice, is in its song. And what I'm seeing here is I see the Ace of Swords. So we have this opportunity for voice here, but also this card very much balancing and encouraging and supporting, sending energy and signs to the rest of the reading. There's also a tremendous sense of purification through the voice. So you might be aware that we come into this world through the second chakra, so through the sacral chakra, through the womb, and we are birthed into the fifth dimension through the voice. And so the healing that comes through song is really important. So that song could be mantra, it could be humming, it could be singing, it could be your favorite songs. So just to keep that energy in mind, because this is a really sweet, right now it's a very, I feel like there's a gentleness in this new energy that is emerging. And then this beautiful trust card is about all of these kind of energies coming together. So you have a really balanced reading here. It's almost like this sweet sweet blending of, like when you're baking and you're putting all your ingredients together. And that does feel like temperance. But on the other hand, it feels like something that you've been brewing and you've been working on for a long time. So over here we have 9 of Earth. Wow. Okay, so that, what I just said, that kind of fits with what I just said. So this is you are reaping the gift of all of these new things is because of all that you have done before that, right? So you're kind of stepping forward into this new place. And this, I often hear readers say that the energy of the aces doesn't hang around for a long time, so it's important to act on the aces quickly. On one hand, I agree with that, but also on the other hand, remember that the ace, the one, contains the energy of the whole of the suit. So if you think of the ace as a sphere and the other pieces 2 through 10 as a part of the ace, it's a completely different way of looking at it. And there you have the sphere of the moon over on the other side. And the keyword there is responsibility. So there is a continuing responsibility in your wisdom, in your experience to, I'm getting a sense of sharing because of the voice of the nightingale. So this new energy that is emerging will be perhaps with you in the role of mentor, in the role of teacher, guide, inspirer. But it doesn't feel like you're up on a soapbox. It feels like you're coming from something very, what could it possibly be? It just feels really sweet. It feels very soft, and it feels almost like you are guiding from another level. It doesn't feel of this world. So be in support of those that are around you. And yeah, I think you understand what I mean here. Let's have a look at some of the pairs of the cards. I want to deepen this reading. This reading is so much more than this is about a new beginning. Something new is emerging. And yes, on a surface level, that's what's happening. But have a look over here at the Daughter of Pentacles. She's sitting in this humble position, kneeling and facing towards the 9 of Earth, almost as if she's facing towards Mother, towards her lineage, towards the feminine aspect of her DNA, of her ancestral line. And then there's that moon above. And look how that ladder is mirroring the shape of the Ace of Swords beside it. So we have that draw, the movement towards the moon, towards the feminine energy, towards the intuition. So this feels very much like the responsibility of continuing the traditions of the family, leading and perhaps even sharing, because I've got the voice, the communication also with this one. There's definitely a sense of voice, purification of the voice, guiding through the wisdom. So just kind of follow me on that. Then over here we have the nightingale, the voice connected to the 5th chakra. There's definitely the sense of purification. Star is about purification with the voice. So if you're moving through something, one of the ways to move through that is through mantra, is through song, is through using the voice. So you are being encouraged to use your voice to perhaps share about the traditions, about your ancestral lineage, to the feminine aspect. Okay, does that make sense? We also have this very strong feminine aspect here. So what is this Son of Wands doing sitting here with this volcano exploding inside of him? Well, I see this as the magic as well. So there's a sense of magic that is emerging. This little wand here that he is levitating from his hand looks a lot like these two shapes over here too. So always kind of allow the symbols to kind of float off the page, because that can really help with understanding the kind of the subtle aspects and the nuances of the reading. I was talking about the connection between the elements. So why I said trust was fire, is because this, when the Manipura chakra, so the solar plexus chakra, comes into right relationship, that sense of ego, that sense of always questioning the doer, always wanting to be in charge, and that sense of beginning to release that energy, this is what happens. You come into that place of trust when that happens. So this really feels like an invitation. It feels like supporting energy of allowing that, if this is kind of a volatile energy in your experience, this feels, very much in support of that. Everything feels really supportive. It feels very magical. So have a look at the reading as a whole. Have a look at the moons, have a look at the arrows, at the points, at the aces, and just kind of see where that is taking you, because there's something underlying all of this. There's a softness, a sweetness. There's something going on about your voice, for sure. And there's something going on about the feminine aspect, perhaps of your family, of your lineage, and sharing that in some way. So let me know if that resonates, and I look forward to chatting with you in the comments below. Number 18, the Moon. I'm just staring at this card from the Way Home Tarot and looking at how calm and placid the black dog is, and how the wolf is reacting to the moon energy and howling and releasing. And I'm wondering if that is a mirror for you right now. Are you feeling quite calm and placid in your subconscious? And is it your physical body? Is it your being in this human experience that is so difficult, but it's actually your spiritual body is feeling quite calm? I don't know, just something that came to me. In your January reading, I did mention about overdoing lunar work. So having this card as your card for the whole year can feel a little bit overwhelming. So making sure that you take it in manageable doses, that you invite in the light, and you actually invite in balance. You had two cards, one with a fish jumping out of the water and one with a whale jumping out of the water. And I'm just wondering, this is you jumping out of your subconscious. This is you allowing your subconscious to emerge, allowing the patterns to emerge, allowing your issues to emerge. And so maybe that's why I was feeling this was quite an overwhelming reading, and suggesting that, to take this in stride. But also, this is awesome, because that was a January reading. That was you really embracing this card, and it's like, okay, I've got the moon card this year. Here we go. Let's get this stuff up and out. Let's deal with it, and not suppress it any longer. The other shape that emerged from your reading was snakes. And I saw that pattern, that swirly pattern. So I encourage you to continue to watch for those signs and to listen to those signs. Physical snakes in paintings, swirly, curly whirlies in different places as you go, and just to pay attention to that. Patterns in the clouds and so forth. So let's have a look at what's around the moon card now in this second moon cycle of 2020. That feels great. This feels like moon ceremony. It feels like reverence and respect for the natural cycles. And so that might be just a practice that, if you don't already have, that you want to pick up on. Beautiful Nine of Cups. These cards seem to be very, very harmonious. The shapes, look how we've got the shape of the fire here, and then we've got the shape of the hammock. And then the flames kind of coming up this way and this way. Looks like a perfect mirror image of the fire card and the water card. And then in the air card, we have the Father. And the Father is paying attention. he's facing into the reading, which is awesome because we want the court cards facing in, really, because it just makes the process so much easier. So he does have an intuitive side. You know, he is capable of listening. He is very intellectual, and sometimes he just, that edginess that we get from the Father of Swords, because he feels more comfortable in his intellect than he does in the wisdom of that deep inner knowing, but he does have it there. And so that is definitely emerging. And then over here in the earth, we have the 3. So something is coming together here. So look at this. We have 3. This is a 3. So this is a completion. This is a 3rd completion. So let's see what we've got going on in the Herbcrafters. Bee Balm. 2 of Fire. 2 of Fire. Bee Balm. Stand Still. It's a gorgeous card. There's a moon on that card. Lamb. And Expansion. This feels like a very harmonious reading. There's 2 different energies going on here. One is the energy of expansion, of growth. We have the expansion card. We have the growth, the creativity, the blossoming, the organic expansion happening here in the 3 of Pentacles. And you're not alone. You're with others working towards something. And it feels the same kind of energy here in the 2 of Fire. It feels like a very gentle, little bit of spice, working towards something. It's very calm. It's very natural. And this is just so harmonious. And then on the other hand, in contrast with the expansion, we have many, many cards of integration, of quiet, of listening. The Standstill card. The Father of Swords is listening to his heart, listening to his soul. The 9 of Cups looks very laid back and relaxed and calm and peaceful. Even the 4 of Wands feels like just sitting around the campfire and looking up at the stars and being in awe of nature. And the Lamb card here is one of, listening to a friend. It's one of being gentle and peaceful. And so perhaps right now, this is a time for you to understand that the ebb and the flow of life does not have to be tumultuous. It can be very peaceful. It can be very calming and nourishing and nurturing. And in January, it felt very kind of explosive and it felt a little bit overwhelming. But this cycle looks a lot calmer. And so I would just go with that and be okay with that. And maybe that's part of your process this year in having the Moon card, is to understand that the cycle of life it's always changing, but it doesn't have to be the high highs and the low lows, and to be comfortable with the gentler energy and to be okay with the more tumultuous energy, and to learn to be less reactive with either of those, which perhaps is what this card in the center is all about. Number 19, the Sun. I want to dive right back to the January reading because I have some questions for you. I was looking at the reading, looking at the cards and thinking, over on the left side, there is that snake and that wild woman card. And it feels like, wow, what a wonderful opportunity this year to shed that skin and allow your wild woman to emerge, that authentic, vibrant aspect of yourself that may have been suppressed for some time and is now being supported by this year of being in the Sun energy. And the 4 cards on the outside are so beautiful and happy and lucky. And then the internal cards, the tarot cards feel so opposite. We have the doubting King of Swords looking down at the sun, and the gloomy Five of Pentacles looking at the sun. The king, the man in the Nine of Cups, was facing away from the sun, as was the warrior in the Seven of Wands. Almost like none of those cards feel the energy of the sun. They don't feel deserving of the sun. So I want to ask you, if that's the case for you, do you not feel deserving of joy? Do you feel not deserving of your happiness? And if that is the case, perhaps this year is about embracing that and letting go of that, so that you can move into your joy and move into your happiness, because the supporting cards, the oracle cards on the outside, are going to look after you. And this is your journey this year. This is your journey to flourish and to enjoy luck and to enjoy a healthy year. Having Bethany down in the bottom right corner is just a symbol of great, great health. So yeah, I just wanted to ask you that. So if that resonates, or if those questions help to clear up the January reading, please let me know. So we have Nine of Wands. So this feels so beautiful with the Sun card. This is a bit of a ceremony. This is a ceremony of releasing these lanterns into the sky in celebration. Of course, there's lots of other associations with the Nine of Wands, but when I look at that card in the Way Home Tarot, it feels in support. It feels very supportive. It almost feels also like a release. It's a release of energy. It's letting go of the past. And here it is sitting above the Six of Cups, that card of nostalgia, that card of looking back. So what I see here is that this is the energy, this sun energy. This is you letting go of all of those patterns from the past, those things that have been so very difficult to let go of, letting them go into the sky, burning them up, so to speak. And maybe you can take that quite literally. Maybe that's something you want to do. Maybe you want to, if this represents journals, old love letters, it could be material objects, any material objects, or it could be emotional things, right? So you could, if it's not written down, if you don't have it in journals, if you don't have the old love letters, you could just write one word or a few sentences about what it is you need to release, and to actually physically burn those up and to let them go into the sky, into a bit of a ceremony. So there's a sense of clarity that is emerging from that. So I see this Ace of Swords as becoming clear with where it is you need to go and how you need to step forward. Let's see what the Pentacles card is. Mm-hmm. So such a pretty Ten of Pentacles. So this is not a bad thing. I don't want you to feel like having photographs, having family albums, having pictures of people around, having memories is not a bad thing. I think it's just most important to find the gold, find the nugget from the memory, and keep that. You don't have to keep the whole drama. You don't have to keep the whole story. That was part of your life. That's part of who you are up until this point. What you need to release is your stuckedness. Is that a word? Your stuckedness to that memory. So allow that memory to be there, but just don't be stuck in the mud about that. There's a lot of beauty around the sense of family. There's a lot of beauty around everything that you have built. And there's a sense of emerging beyond that. I feel like both of these cards are encouraging you to move beyond the past. Yeah. Intention. So this card to me looks very purple. It looks very crown chakra kind of energy. It seems to mirror the energy I'm seeing over here. So kind of a rising up energy, rising towards spirit, rising into a place of trust. So the wolf is energy of earth, But if you look at the colors, we have fire here, and I'm thinking of the wolf howling at the moon. So there's that connection. Oh gosh, what a gorgeous card. I'm going to bring this closer here so you can see. It says embrace. And look, it's a perfect mirror of the sun card in the center. Just beautiful. Okay, so that's really lovely. So I asked you if you felt deserving of joy, if you felt deserving of happiness, and maybe that peace is just giving yourself permission a little bit to let go. Let go. Stop clinging to the past. Stop clinging, and it might not be the past. There might just be one. There might be one little story. There might be one thing that you need to let go of, that you need to release. So intending to move forward, like setting that intention. I can't emphasize enough working with the natural cycles of the month, the natural cycles of the moon, the natural cycles of the earth. And if we set these intentions at the right time, so around the new moon, the day before, the day after, they can be a little more potent than if we set the intentions at a different time of the month. And then over here, ooh, we have more moon. More moon. So on one hand, that shows me tremendous balance. And I was kind of picking up on lunar energy here, even though this is an element of earth. So sun and moon. Look, we have sun and moon. This looks like to me sun and moon. Inviting balance, emerging, being okay with the lunar, being okay with the solar. This keyword over here, I feel, speaks volumes to several of the cards in the reading. Embrace. Embrace the past. Take the best from the past. Embrace all of the energies of all of these cards, but also embrace this energy here. I want to read something from this guidebook. This is a beautiful, beautiful card. But there's a sense of, and this also was your card last year. So if you are in a sun year this year, your card last year was probably the moon. And so there, that sense of that lunar energy still being with you. But also to have this card come up when I'm actually doing these readings at the new moon just shows this level of connection. And also there's a tremendous sense of balance. But just give me a minute here, and I'm going to read for you from the Herbcrafter's Tarot. Datura has a long history of magic and lore with witches and cunning folk. The potent seeds and flowers have been used by experienced practitioners to induce alternative states of consciousness. Turn toward mystery with curiosity and courage. Your dreams may be vivid and easy to remember, but also scary and confusing. Datura is a toxic plant whose ingestion can quickly lead to a number of permanent damaging effects. Learn to speak the language of symbol, myth, and metaphor. As Datura blooms with the moonlight, so it is now time to stay awake and witness the magic that dwells in the darkness. Embrace the power of vibrational medicine. There's something about the darkness of this card, the darkness of this card. The wolf is in the darkness here. And allowing the sun energy of your year to illuminate your darkness. There's a tremendous amount of illumination in this Ten of Pentacles too, and I just feel that keyword illumination. Embrace the illumination of your darkness. And when we have moved from a moon year to a sun year, there could also be a resistance, and maybe that's what that was about in that first January reading, that resistance to step into the solar energy, because the lunar energy can be quite heavy, right? And so to let go of that, to embrace the power of vibrational medicine, to step now into the vibrational medicine of the sun as you move forward and begin to release those layers that are no longer serving you. So in the January reading, that snake was there, and it was inviting you to release, to shed that skin, to allow that wild woman to emerge. And here again, you have this invitation to release something so that right? This inner wisdom, this inner truth can emerge. And if you need to howl to the moon, that feels like something that might work for you as well too. Moon, wolf. Okay. And intention. So go back to your journal, go back to however it is you set intention. It could just be through prayer, it could be through meditation, but to begin to really cultivate what it is that you want to intend in this new cycle of the sun, and know that it is your right. It is your right to be joyful. It is your right to step into the sun energy. And so to take actions, to take steps, to move toward releasing all that you need to release so that you can move toward this joy, which feels perhaps a little bit out of your comfort zone. So take it step by step. Number 20, Judgment, emerging. I like that keyword for this card. I find it very empowering, and it gives me a little bit of courage when I see this card, because sometimes I find the Judgment card can be a little overwhelming. So I want to go back to the January reading because I felt like I glossed over the card in the top left corner, the Sacrifice card. And I want to share with you from Colette Baron Reid's guidebook. She says, the sacrifice asks you to offer to Spirit that which is most precious to you. Your offering will be sanctified and returned tenfold. You will be elevated to the altar at which you have been praying and meet the divine at the table with the heavenly feast. You are a welcome guest in this banquet. Your heart is the only worthy offering you can bring. Life has been generous with you in so many ways. So that just felt like a beautiful card to have next to the Judgment card. It just felt so harmonious and so in sync and so in tune, as did other aspects of the reading. It felt like there was this beautiful integration between the earthly experience and the cosmic experience that was reflected in the cuckoo plant as well too. So I just felt, anyway, I just wanted to mention that card again because I felt like I should have said more about it. Also, to acknowledge the connection between the word sacrifice and sacred. So this year is also about a year of seeing the sacred in everything, the sacred in the mundane, the sacred in the everyday, the sacred in the light, the sacred in the dark. And so I think that process will begin to emerge and evolve as you move through your Judgment year. So let's see what we have around the energy of Judgment in the second moon cycle of 2020. So we have the Six of Wands. That's really lovely. There is a sense of emergence in this card here as well too, with the sun rising here. Sun rising, sun setting. I see it as a sunrise. The sun is emerging here. So we've been in the night, right? And then the sun is coming up, perhaps. But it just, as a mirror here, it feels like an emergence. And then underneath, so we are emerging perhaps from indifference, uncomfortable emotions, depression. And so letting go. I'm just looking at the shell beneath the shell down here. Sometimes there's a reluctance, a trepidation to move outside of, to step into that freedom. And that's another great keyword for this card is freedom. There's a freedom. There's a sense of freedom in this card here. And moving forth, stepping forth into that freedom can be scary because we don't know what lies ahead. It might not be our comfort zone. It might not be a place that we've been for a while or ever. And so to take it step by step, day by day, experience by experience, and just see how you feel as you are moving through. Three of Swords. So moving through that experience as well, moving through the journey of grief, moving through, well, look at the surrounding cards over here, but that's a pretty heavy card to have arise here. And then we have the Daughter of Pentacles. Love that card. I love how she's sitting, and just, it feels so respectful and very connected. So being the Daughter of Pentacles, being connected with the earth. Love the way that it's like she's one with the earth here. And she's also facing this very green card, another daughter. So the Daughter of Air, the plant of catnip. Those two sisters seem to be in a kind of a union, Daughter of Air and Daughter of Pentacles. There's a lightness, a groundedness. It feels like the bonding of two sisters, a sisterhood emerging, and then feeling in form. It's a really interesting card to have come up here. And I'm gonna come back to that one because it's kind of layered, this energy. But look at the color. Look at the way the mushrooms are placed on the card. And we also have these phases of the moon over here on the left. Okay, so next to the Four of Cups, assurance. So what a lovely supportive card to have next to the Four of Cups. And we have the moon here, and then the Panther card. Okay. So let's go to Panther. It's a very strong, fiery energy, cutting through the crap, if for a lack of other words. The Panther is going to, and I sometimes see this card much like the Jaguar in the medicine wheel. So a sense of tracking and moving through the most difficult things. And so the Panther energy, I feel, is there at your feet, at your heels, continuing and encouraging you to continue to step forward day by day and to not turn around and look back, but to keep moving on your journey, like not to go back into the comfort of your home, into the comfort of your shell, but to keep stepping forward. The Panther, also the Jaguar, so that's the animal that's referred to in the medicine wheel journey, but it has a similar energy, is tracking death. So in tracking death, we learn about that experience. We learn about that story. And oddly, maybe not oddly, the Three of Swords is over here facing all that. So if this refers to death, this is about understanding the journey and understanding the relationships of the people whom you share the death experience with, those that left you, those that have moved on to the next plane, and to fully processing that aspect, that relationship, the emotions, the mind, the thought, the heart space, and all that goes with that. So Three of Swords, remember, it is extremely complex, that we have the blood, we have the heart, we have the swords of the mind, we have a little bit of disconnect between heart and mind, but also the element of air reflecting the heart chakra. So this card really invites us to go deep into the heart space and to be fully aware and fully processing everything that's going on. As I mentioned, this is one of the most complex cards in this deck, and I'm going to read to you from Lauren Aletta's guidebook. Feeling and form. The challenges you face can be bolstered through the practice of anchoring into your vision and invoking the aligned feelings to support you. The deep soul yearnings that lie within, wishing to be created and experienced, but feel far away or out of your reach, are simply because they are not energized enough. Density is just a matter of how energized something is and in what way it is energized. There's more, but I think that's kind of the essence of what's going on here. So to be in a judgment year is about shifting your frequency. It's about raising the energy of everything around you, your experience at work, your experience at home, your activities, it's about a thoughtfulness, a mindfulness of raising the frequency of your food, raising the frequency of your room, and raising the frequency of, everything that you see, feel, touch, and hear, raising the frequency of the music that you listen to. And so we have some really beautiful harmonies here in this reading, and I love that those two sisters are just kind of sitting and supporting each other. The denser frequency of the pentacles being raised by this frequency of the air, of the daughter of air, but also it kind of goes both ways, because she is the green sister, and she is the sister who can get caught up in the mind and in the intellect. In some way, there's this beautiful harmony between those two sisters. By bringing awareness to your feelings and allowing those inner feelings and emotions to be stirred up, to be felt completely, then you'll be able to move into the higher frequency of the heart space, which is one of contentment, one of experiencing the joy and being fully at peace with the heart, where you're able to unconditionally not only love yourself, but everyone else around you. I mentioned before that I just think it's fantastic that this Panther card came up with this one. So the not taking that too lightly, like experiencing the loss, experiencing the tragedy, fully embracing, what did she say here? Fully embracing, evoking the aligned feelings to support you. If there was any sense of complacency or reluctance to embrace the Judgment card last month in January, I feel that having this card here, there's this sense of now there's no turning back. This energy is behind you, and it's going to be there to continue to nudge you forward. There's this assurance card here. You're definitely moving away from the Four of Cups, and there's a sense of reveal, if you will. What is your reveal going to be as you move through, as you let go, as you raise your frequency, as you discover what these feelings are really about and step into this new, lighter, higher frequency energy, if that makes sense? I'm looking at this whole spread and I want to summarize it in one sentence because it doesn't seem that complicated. It's about continuing to step forward, to move towards the light. And as you're moving towards the light, as you're moving towards the higher frequency, to feel everything, to experience everything, and just to continue stepping forward and stepping higher and stepping further into this year of emergence. So let me know what's going on for you with this year of rebirth. I'm really curious. This is such a gorgeous reading and a gorgeous spread. So make sure you do take a screenshot of this and come back to it in a week, come back to it in a month, and let me know how you're doing. Number 21, the world, or the universe, as it's called in this deck. Such a beautiful card. I want to be in that cabin in the woods, sitting around the bonfire, underneath that glorious cosmic light show. This is your year to do whatever it is you want to do and to find your peace, your glory, your own celebration. This is a year for all of those things, a whole year to bask in your glory, in your light. There was a sense of contentment about the whole January reading, from the Beloved card to the Restorer's card, the beautiful Blossom card above that, and that sense of energy and the Two of Cups and even the balance of the seahorse. It just felt like that whole reading was a lovely hug, and I just wanted to kind of snuggle into the reading. The other thing that came up was there was a sense of maturity in the two cards to the left of the World card and a sense of youthfulness on the right. And it felt like this perfect balance between youthfulness and maturity. And maybe that's part of this year, is for you to weave in and out of those two energies and to be comfortable in both of them. So whatever this magical year for you is going to be about, it's about you to create it and to do everything that you want to do. And that's a word that's really I've been paying attention to lately. It's not anything. Everything is possible. And for you, that is what your year is about. It's about really embracing the magic of every single thing. So let's have a look at the cards that surround the universe for this second moon cycle of 2020. So it's funny, this kind of mirrors the fireworks over here. This celebration, I've never been to one of these festivals before, but I've seen images and videos of them, and just to be on the river where the village is lighting all these lanterns in celebration and sending them up to the sky, it just feels so beautiful. It also feels like coming full circle, right? It also not only is a celebration of light, but it's a celebration of completeness. Yeah, so I think that's on my bucket list, is to experience one of those light lantern festivals. And the Nine of Cups. That's perfect, isn't it? And we really do have the light in all three of these pictures. It's your year. It's your year of to be in the light. And I love this card. It's got the light. It's got the water. We've got the earthiness of the tree surrounding the card. So beautiful. And I really wish for you this year to give yourself permission to feel the energy of all of this, right? To just really create it for yourself. Ten of Swords. Well, we don't want to see that there, do we? Let's just switch the card. Let's switch the card. Ace of Pentacles. So that's really interesting. Let's see what that Ten of Swords is about, because it's kind of sitting there like a sore thumb. And it is a card of an ending. Yes, so it's a culmination of the suit of swords. The universe is also the culmination of the major arcana. So why is that particular 10 showing up in your reading? You do have two nines over here, and you have an ace and a 10. So that 10 feels uncomfortable, right? And perhaps this is the aspect of yourself that needs the most attention in completing. So let's kind of look at the energy of the Ten of Swords and what that represents. So just go through your mind all of the associations with swords. So we've got air, we've got mind, we've got thinking, we've got saturation of thinking, we've got the balance between the intellect and the wisdom. We have the disconnect between the heart and the mind. We have that kind of egocentricity that overtakes things when we don't lead with the heart space. So that has all kind of come to a climax, and it's time to finally once and for all deal with that, and to kind of step away from ego and move more into a place of trust, more into alignment with your higher self. And then we have endings. Oh my God, how perfect. Thank you, cards. Thank you, universe. So don't you want this to be facing this? Aren't you ready? Aren't you ready to let go of that? And that can be as simple as letting go of the doership, letting go of all the to-do lists, letting go of the control, always having to be in control, always having to know what's coming next. That might be one of the things that you need to send up in your lantern, right? That's one of the things you probably need to burn in your fire every single month until it feels like you have let go of it. The Ace of Pentacles is sitting next to birch, the Seven of Water. So lots of emotions in that picture. Lots of choices, lots of feelings. There's a sense of so many words associated with that card, but we'll actually look at the medicine of birch as well too. But if you want to go to your Seven of Water and think of lots of different possibilities as far as emotions, making the right decisions, illusion, delusion, imagination. But look at all those cups that are sitting there. It's really beautiful, but it's just too many things. It's a mess. It needs to be cleaned up. And so how are we going to work at cleaning up that energy and making it a little more simple? Because I also think the simplicity, there's a beauty in the simplicity, right? There's something about that. There's a beauty in the simplicity. There's a richness in the simplicity. The animal energy is lion. Fire. We've had lots of combinations where we've had, well, I don't know, I should have counted them to see how many. And then your soul tree is to speak your truth. So your speak your truth will, of course, talk to the most challenging cards. But let's kind of look at the pairs, the ones we haven't looked at, and to see what kind of energy emerges from that. Let's look at this potential for growth that is emerging here in the Ace of Pentacles in relation to what's going on here in the Seven of Water in the Herbcrafter's Tarot. Folklore, symbolism, and myth nourish intuition. There are countless forms of divination tools. Birch ogham staves are just one. Birch grows multiple stems from one trunk, and water extracted from the tree rids the body of toxins. When you hear a call to explore the depths, you may have several paths to pursue. Look for the common root in your many desires and clear out unhealthy illusions. Use divination to consider the path you will take next. Tap into the wisdom deep within your heart to divine the message. Your soul will give you direction. Make a clean choice and toast your decision. That seems to be an overriding theme with the last reading and this reading, is to celebrate this year, to toast and to be assured with your decisions. My energy has been drawn over here, and there's a couple things that are coming up simultaneously. One is that in your experience of the universe, of the world this year, you may be viewed externally as self-indulgent. And the Speak Your Truth is about speaking the truth to yourself, to your higher self, from your heart to yourself. And to really own that and to understand the medicine, the healing, the honoring of the completion of this cycle in a way that feels authentic and feels so good to you and only for you, right? It is a toast to you. It is about your accomplishments, your success, your balance. What did I say in that last reading? That harmony between the youthfulness and the maturity. And there's something about this truthfulness, the roar of the lion. And I'm just kind of feeling the frequency of the roar of the lion, that long, slow roar that kind of reverberates across the land. And it just feels full of beautiful energy. And so to own your roar, own your roar, and not to listen to the people in your environment who might not be understanding what your experience is this year. It feels like this is this completion is a big part of your healing. And hopping back over here, something I didn't mention was that, so there's a lot of different cups, there's a lot of different energy here, a lot of different feelings. But and maybe some of these things are the many things that are on your bucket list. You have a lot of choices, a few different ways you could be going. And to find that common thread in all of those pieces, because that underlying energy with all those beautiful things you want to experience will be there. And so that's part of your self-reflection, part of your self-study. The lion is a master of the fire element and the living mascot of self-transformation. A lion personality dedicates their life to personal and spiritual growth. This dedication inspires some and intimidates others. Well, that's kind of what I was speaking to. Therefore, the lion is respected by all, but known intimately by a few. Some mistake the lion as hard to access or aloof. Yet those with a keener eye know better. Lions are observant, stealth, and precise in their words and actions. They do not waste energy or resources. This card reminds us that self-mastery is available to all, no matter where our quest begins. This reading, this experience feels like the honoring of mastery as part of your journey in the world this year. Number 22, The Fool. How is your 2020 adventure going so far? When I looked back at that January reading, it felt pretty clear the kind of energy you were leaving behind and the guiding forces that were ahead. The Ace of Swords felt perfect in that position. It felt like it was your guiding light. It felt like wisdom. It felt inspiring. And then the Two of Pentacles underneath it, it felt more than a balance card. It felt like a reminder to watch your step, to be mindful of your step, perhaps even your footprint, your ecological footprint along the way on your path. And then the Bull card felt like even a stronger, fiery inspiration, something that would clear your path and help you to continue on your journey. Sometimes when we step on these journeys, there's a sense of reluctance. We might feel a little bit of regret, or we're not sure if we made the right decision or not. And that Bull card there is kind of there to help you along the way to just keep on going, keep on going. And above that was the beautiful Medicine Wheel card, which is such a perfect metaphor for stepping out on the Fool's journey. So as we walk the medicine wheel, we go through all of life's experiences. We go through everything from shedding patterns to exploring our past, exploring our relationship with our ancestors, learning how to see the world from a bigger picture, which is really what this journey is about. But the Fool's Year is about stepping out and committing to being on that path. So let's have a look at the surrounding cards for the first moon cycle. No, not the first moon cycle, the second moon cycle of 2020. Okay. Five of Wands, Son of Swords, Father of Cups. Just looking at the colors. Oh, another court card. So we have 3 court cards, 2 sons, 1 father. So a lot of solar energy. One of the things that will need to happen on the path over the next couple of months is to seek the balance, because all of this solar energy will help to keep the journey going, but it might be a little exhausting. You might experience some burnout. So hopefully the surrounding cards will bring some balance to that, or some insight as to how you can navigate this path that looks a little imbalanced at this time. Ooh, that's kind of cool. We have the Earth card next to the Father of Cups. One of the things I noticed was the green and the green. So it's nice to see this green here. I mentioned about the footprint. There may be something about that for you this year. Your ecological footprint. Oh, look at that. We have footprints on this one. Okay, I'm just seeing all these things. I don't know if that will have anything to do with your journey. Oh, wow. Okay, so we have another, so this is a symbol of transformation. And in the process of transformation, sometimes there are things that have to be burned, right? We have to burn through, it's called tapas in yoga. We have to burn through our garbage. We have to burn through our challenges, burn through our karmas to make it through the transformation. And look at this, it's really interesting. See the shape? And we have the same shape here and this. Okay. I love color. I love shapes. Sometimes in a reading, it's just really great to look at the symbols, to look at the shapes, to see if those symbols speak to you. Those symbols can be, what can they be? They can be a guiding light as you walk forward. So those symbols, you can see them in the clouds, you can see them in paintings, you can see them in different ways. And not to take them literally, but to just have a general understanding of their shapes and how they may affect your choices. They might help with some of your reactions. So as an example, you see this arch here? When I was looking over here, I saw an arch here. So that's just an example of how symbols can arise from the pictures. And I'm looking at licorice. Licorice as a digestive. That is the Eight of Air. It's kind of a, it's not the easiest of cards to have over there in this reading because I was kind of looking for some comfort and some balance. And then we have pleasure and pain. So let's talk about pleasure and pain, which is a huge teaching in the yogic practice. And that is one of, where should we begin? I don't want to give a whole yoga lesson here, but to understand that pleasure and pain are two sides of the same coin. And that there's nothing wrong with feeling pleasure. To feel pleasure and to be in joy, to experience your pleasures in moderation, is a wonderful thing. We all need to experience pain. Pain is not optional. We're all going to go through various pains. What is optional is the suffering. So how we view the pain, how we react to the pain, how we react to the pleasure is going to determine how this adventure is going to be. So keeping that in mind is really important, and not to be too attached to the pleasures and not to be too repulsed by the pain, if that makes sense. And that is sitting next to the Son of Swords, which can be an energy of impulsive reaction, reacting with harsh words, not thinking before acting. And fortunately, beneath the Son of Swords is the Son of Pentacles, which feels like a grounding energy for the Son of Swords. So if the Son of Swords is out of balance, the Son of Pentacles is going to help bring the Son of Swords back to earth, make the Son of Swords feel a little more grounded and connected. And the Eight of Air, which I'll talk about it in relation to air in a moment, looks like a grounding card. We've got that beautiful stone arch standing there. So it feels really solid. From the Herbcrafter's Guidebook. What holds us back is not always clear. Are you feeling fenced in by the circumstances of your life? Staying isolated seems safe, but like this overgrown garden, it could become a prison of your own making. Know your limits. There is no shame in saying no. Constant internal dialogue may have silenced you, but your body can no longer hold that story inside. Take responsibility for your own thoughts and clear a path to freedom. This sounds like your last reading. Licorice heals the vocal cords. Speak your truth aloud to others. It will give you power. A power shared is a power multiplied. Licorice medicine is soft and sweet. Be kind to yourself as you meet your boundaries head on. Walk out through the gate. So again, you have this encouragement on the left side of the reading to keep on going. But there's this sense of your, I don't want to say your weaknesses, but there's things that you will need to continue to monitor on this journey, but to really embrace this transformation. I don't see this Five of Wands as a negative card. I see this Five of Wands as the much needed fire that you need to, to find the surgence of energy to carry on this path, to continue on this path, because you will experience pleasure and pain along the way on the journey, and you need to be okay with both of those. You need to be okay with the lessons of the pleasure, the lessons of the pain, and to be able to see the light and the shadow in all of those experiences. And one of the things also I was thinking was you may meet various people along the way who will help to reflect back the energy that you need to bring that particular moment, that particular aspect of your experience into balance. This Earth card is really nice. I love that on this journey, there's this focus with the grounding. In January 1st reading, you had that Two of Pentacles, and I just really felt the energy of the footprint and how important the footprint is, will be. And I see the green, the green. I actually see the footprints here. So there's something about that. You might want to watch the footprints or just think about that word or what that word means to you. So please let me know how your adventure is progressing. And if you have any further questions about this reading, I'd be happy to discuss that with you in the comments below. Thank you for watching and being a part of my journey too. Stay well, my friends. Namaste.